So let's see. I got. Oh yeah. I guess I could have done it on here. All right. Well, let's see who's here. Waiting to see if these guys are coming on the Discord. This is your usual ritual that I have is a little taping of the fingers. Oops, this roll is a little tough. It's a little sticky. It's like an athlete who needs a knee brace. I need a finger brace. All right. Who do we got here again? Jamie Odell, Dr. Midnight. Last week we did a review of one of Dr. Midnight's books. This week I think we're going to jump into one of Simple Man's books, or Simple Man stories, and give it a little bit of a review or kind of a process of how I would approach storytelling. Welcome to Sketch Fighters. No problem, Dr. Midnight. We can do it again too if you want next time. Next week, if you want. There's a couple more as the story progresses. Or as your story progresses, it jumps into different timelines, and so there's some interesting stuff that you're doing. But if you want, we can always go over that again next week. This week is Simple Man's turn. We'll see when Sean gets on, or if any of the other people are going to jump on. Before I kind of go into, I don't want to start without these guys, because then I'm going to have to repeat the story. So with that said, what was that wrestling dude that was Sketch Fighters the other week? Does anybody remember the name? Let's see if I can find it. Okay, KINNIKUMAN. Okay, thank you. So maybe I'll just draw him while we're waiting for KINNIKUMAN. While we're waiting for Sean or Jerry to pop up. What's up, James Quo? So it's 9:35 here in the morning, Taipei. I just had some delicious lu rou fan this morning. Oh man, amazing. So what is this KINNIKUMAN thing? Like, what is he? I'm assuming he's a wrestler. So does he have like a special move? Like how Hulk Hogan has a leg drop. Randy Macho Man Savage had the top of the ropes leap. I forgot what the name of that was. Jimmy Superfly Snuka had a similar kind of move. James, I don't think we're gonna have to take a break from the sketch battle right now, because I don't know how to figure out how to get a duo screen on here, because I'm streaming from my phone. So it might be a few weeks. Flying elbow drop. Okay. Let me see if I can. If that's the flying elbow drop, then let me do. KINNIKUMAN Elbow drop. Elbow drop. Everybody's safe so far. I mean, the earthquake last week was kind of relegated to the eastern side of the island. I think they said 10 people have passed away. There's been a few people were trapped. Not too much damage per se. I mean, New York just had an earthquake, but it was only a 4 point something. The Taiwan one was 7.2, 7.4. Okay, so it looks like it's like a flying elbow. Now I'm looking at these different versions of this guy, and it seems like there's different faces or something, or how does that work? The first thing that comes to my mind when I'm doing this is oh, Sean's on Discord. Hello, Sean? Sean? Someone just joined? Hello?
Hello?
All right. We got Mr. Chen here.
Are we on now?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna wait to for you or Jerry to come on before I started the tutorial, just so I don't have to go over the story multiple times. So I'm doing the KINNIKUMAN drawing from a couple weeks ago. But so he has like a flying elbow drop. So you ready to start? I think today we're gonna do the popular demand, and also that I promised SIMPLEMAN a month ago. Go over some of his storytelling process, what I would do or what we would do. Get like a group kind of critique, and then hopefully you guys watching this will be able to use this as a learning mechanism or tool, vehicle, right? Into peering into the minds of storytelling, which to me is the most important factor. I mean, what we do as comic book artists, people think that it's like drawing. And drawing is a big component of that, but the storytelling is essential, right? How do you feel about that, Sean?
Yeah, I think you can actually, if you're not that good at drawing, you can still put out a kick-ass comic by giving people, like the readers, an experience, and that doesn't necessarily require kind of drawn. As long as you go for it, like if your intention is there, and you can tell the story in a great way, and I think that's most of the battle right there. And the rest of it is all just like draftsmanship, which is you can kind of take or leave it, really. It seems like there's a kind of a big trend now to kind of focus on the experience of having a story unfold and not to get so hung up on whether like the nose or the fingers are drawn properly.
Yeah, I mean, the technical component of drawing, I think is important. However, there are, to me, what we're doing is when you're saying you want to draw comic books, it's equivalent to saying you want to make movies or you want to make TV shows or you want to tell stories. And drawing well is one thing, but there are plenty of models that are very attractive, but they can't act. And there are, so a lot of people think that a component of an actor is to be physically attractive, but what good is it if they can't act, if they can't take you to that story, make you feel, make you believe in this new world. Um, there are a lot of extremely attractive people that can't act, and not to name names. We don't name names on this stream, right? Let's see. Chainsaw Man is one of the most popular comics, and the drawings are super loose. So okay. Let's get started since Sean's here. Is Jerry? Hey, Sean, can you see? Did Jerry reply on the stream or no?
No,
If he's not, I
so
don't think he's
far.
coming on because.
Do you have a video on? Because right now I have a still image on the screen.
No, it should be a video. It's still.
I'm
Is
not
it?
finding
Did
it.
it freeze?
Maybe for me. I mean,
There is a little bit of like robot. You got a little fletching. You got a little fletch. Inflection. All right. So this is the starting the Kinnikuman sketch. The flying elbow is the big component. As you can see, some of it is when I post a lot of the process things I have on my Instagram page from the comics. You can tell that I redraw a lot, and some of it is I have a pose. I might have a pose in my head, but then as I'm drawing it out, it doesn't look as great, or I might also have some problems with the pose. Sean, how's the stream for you? Is it still frozen?
I'm still working on. Maybe I gotta.
Restart?
Maybe I'll go out and come back.
Okay. All right. So, you think this is too much? Who said that? I can't, Mr. Joshua. What's up, Mr. Joshua? James Quo. What's up, your Jimbo? I think since our last stream, you guys on the East Coast have experienced an earthquake as well. And then also, I guess there was an eclipse, a solar eclipse yesterday. But
So you know what happens next after the eclipse?
the end of the world?
Well, we have a plague of 2 cicada cycles linking up.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be like locusts.
Oh, so that's the end of the world?
So pretty much.
Who was the boxer? There was an MMA fighter that was like, supposedly yesterday was the end of the world, right? April 8th? I don't know. There's like literally zero news about the eclipse here in Taiwan. So I'm not sure if it's because the eclipse was not witnessed here or if it's just not like a huge deal. I mean, I remember when I was in elementary school and the first solar eclipse, we went out. And then again, I think in junior high or high school, there was another solar eclipse. But, like by this time, we've already had like one every few years. It's like, what's the big deal? Right? I mean, I don't know, Sean, did you go outside and like...
Yeah, I saw it. Because it's, there's different types. There's like the lunar and solar and partial and total. So this is the total. Like we had 90% coverage.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, it was a big deal. It doesn't come by that often.
Oh, all right. Wow.
But it was kind of a letdown. I feel bad for the people who traveled to see it because...
Well, people travel?
Like
eclipse tourism?
Yeah, like I think maybe Jimmy Palmiotti. It looks like he traveled someplace to see the eclipse.
Really? Wow. I mean, how many eclipses has Jimmy seen already in his life? I mean, I don't know. Well, good for him. And he was disappointed? Was Amanda with him, or were they at a show? Maybe they were at a show.
hear what you're saying. Can you hear me well, or?
Yeah, I can hear you. Let me hold on. Let me.
You got the robot voice.
I got the robot voice. All right, hold on. Hold on.
What is this drawing you do?
This is the sketch fighters from a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay. How's
I
the
have a
robot?
voice to them.
You hear the robot voice now?
They can hear you, but I have the robot voice. Yeah, I think
Sean
something's
has
not
it.
working.
My voice sounds fine. Well, your voice sounds fine to me, Sean.
Yeah, well,
But it's choppy. I turned off my VPN, so I'm thinking that might be the problem here. Well, let's keep going. Lurky lurk. All right, let's keep going. Let's go. Let's power through this real quick. Okay, so Simple Man sent me the story. Let me try a new one. So Simple Man has a story, has a football story. What's up, Golf Boy Sunday? How you doing? Let's see. It's called Emergence of Power, I'm assuming. Or is that just Act 1? So it's a football story. And let's see here. Simple Man has written out. If we want to go along with this, page 1, you've written out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels. Page 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels. Page 3, full page splash. Okay. And then page 4. So we start off. Let me kind of jot this down. Usually, what I'll do is whenever I'm given a script, I'll try to break it down, simplify whatever the writer wrote. So, if panel 1, Friday night high school football game. Simple Man, do you want to post a mitigated script, like just the first 3 pages of the script of your script, onto the Discord, so that people can read along? Is that cool? Up to you, if you don't want to, because I'm kind of reading it already. So, yeah, I wouldn't post. You don't need to post the full script. Maybe just do the first 3 pages, because I think that's all that we have time for today. And that way, people, if you want.
So are you drawing this?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go through the entire process of laying it out, coming up with the ideas, the shots, and then maybe come up with a simplified layout. We're not gonna fully draw it. I don't think we have time. But try to get as far as we can in about an hour and a half. Let me know when the script is up. That way, if you guys want to read along, it's on the Discord under, I don't know, Beavis or Butthead. Oh. Sean, how was the earthquake in New York?
A little. I didn't feel anything. I heard it. It was more of a noise.
You heard it?
No big deal. Well, it sounded like a truck drove by. I didn't feel anything. I was in the basement.
Oh, okay. Yeah, probably in the basement. Very secure, maybe. All right, let me know when it's up, Simple Man. There's been continued aftershocks here in Taipei, but just kind of slow rolling aftershocks lasting a few seconds. I felt one yesterday. Very interesting in the sense that it's rolling. It's just very smooth. It's not like herky-jerky. So panel 1, page 1, panel 1, Friday night high school football game. Perspective showing offensive tackle on the right side, defensive line on the left side in the foreground, with the sideline stadium in the background. Main character Big T 79 is offensive tackle on the right side and is narrating the events of the game. Opposing player 81 is the defensive end on the left side of the panel. Okay, so some of this too, Simpleman's writing this himself, and I would say you're giving maybe too many visual descriptions in the script. And so, on one hand, I guess let me keep reading. So, script. So there's a narration box, I guess, caption box. I've been big my whole life. I weigh 200 pounds at 9 years old. Needless to say, I'm familiar with verbal torment and physical, for that matter. Usually, I encourage a physical game when it's when I get the 250-pound All-American D ends that make a game interesting, challenging, fun. Panel 2, Big T is blocking opposing player, with the opposing player has clenched fist on shoulder pad section of T's jersey. So I'm assuming this is he's grabbing his jersey. He had a handful of my jersey almost every play, practically tried undressing me, didn't even buy me dinner. Panel 3, opposing player is holding Big T's face mask, yanking it aside, but Big T's unfazed, only his head is turned. Opposing player is still being blocked. Normally, face masking is a penalty. I guess these refs didn't get the memo, but hell of a grip, didn't let go until the whistle blew, sometimes even after. Opposing player, panel 4, opposing player, helmet smashing into main characters. Caption, as a lineman, your helmet is usually the first thing that gets smacked. Usually get it really quick, but even after years of banging around, a helmet-to-helmet collision can still ring your bell. But even after that, I still don't have any more animosity towards him than usual game time, adrenaline, and effort. And finally, panel 5, close-up of opposing player's mouth through the face mask. Close-up, I guess. But there is one constant among every single defensive end I have ever went against. When their dirty tricks don't work, they always run their mouths. I'm gonna murder you and your whole trash family fat ass. Okay. So that's page 1.
That's pretty cool writing.
Yeah, I mean, it's very descriptive. There's a lot of he's already flushed it out. You can see images in your head. If you're not familiar with football, I mean, there's there's specific positions here and how they're lining up, but you can kind of see a lot of the action going on, right? And it's really fast paced. The dialogue is pretty.
If I were to say one thing, the dialogue is great and all the narration is great. If you're trying to describe to an artist what to draw, rather than giving such specific stage directions, maybe touch on a little bit of like how you want the reader to feel.
Right.
And then the artist will find a way there.
Yeah, that's a great point. And something that, because you're writing it himself and you're drawing it, you're probably thinking about visually already. But don't be afraid, if you're writing a script, to write it in a format where when other people are reading it, they're reading it as the artist and storyteller. So having in there emotional hooks, meaning the first segment, I want, obviously our protagonist, our hero, Big T, is doing everything the right way, and the bad guy, 81, is trying to get under his skin and cheating and doing other things. So from that, let's say page 1. What I would do is I'd write down page 1. I'd break it down. I'd write out all the different beats again. So there's kind of 5 panels. Friday night. This is the establishing shot. We are in Friday night football. We have main character 79, V versus 81. And this is so there are usually, if we have the offense here, this is the center, right guard, correct me if I'm wrong, and then right end and left end. So you usually have 5 linemen, and this is the QB, and then you'll have like a running back, and then a fullback. And you have maybe like a tight end and a wide receiver, and a wide receiver. I don't know whatever format this is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 players. Usually these 5 linemen are going against a 4-3, I'm assuming. What are you? You're the right side offensive tackle. Right tackle. Sorry. Left tackle. And then this is 81. So this is our protagonist hero. And then X, X, X. Usually they have 3 linebackers. And then 1, 1. So 7, 8, 9, 10. And then maybe an 11 guy safety in the background, right? So understanding the game, kind of what the writer's asking for. Oh, what's going on here? These are the formations. So an initial setup, if this is the field, and if our guys are going this way to score. Right? Any questions so far? Left tackle, yep. So second one is, and then there's about maybe like 3 captions. The second panel, big T's blocking opposing player. The second panel, so 1, this would be plays just started, and 81 is grabbing 79's jersey, top of the jersey, shoulder. Grabbing of the fist, holding is a penalty, I'm assuming. Third panel, 81 is grabbing face mask. But our hero 79 is unfazed. Panel 4, 81 is smashing. So their helmets are clashing against each other. And then 81, the last one is close up, 81 mouth, talking trash. Okay, so I have these 5 beats, and I'm thinking I'm probably going to want to start off with how I'm feeling. These feel like they're segments, maybe even this one, like boom, 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 grabbing the shoulder, face mask, helmet, talking trash. That seems like they're all kind of maybe can be grouped in the same sequence. Sean, what do you think? What's your initial impression when you see something like this? Sean?
I don't really understand the game. This is giving me a PTSD when I did that soccer comic.
Yeah.
Sports comics are a very unusual thing. I mean, you really do have to. It's like you really need the inside baseball to do it right.
Well, usually it's when these players line up. These are 81. The offensive tackle is the one that's protecting the quarterback. So you've seen these shots before where, they're kind of like heads on, and then the quarterback is here, Kurt Russell, and then all these guys are, So if this is kind of what he's asking for, the writer is, right? We can kind of see we need to have a stadium in the background. This is high school. But, so depending on where you live in the country, high school programs, Friday Night Lights is huge, especially like in Texas and the Midwest and the South. We want to have usually they have like a little radio box. I mean, a announcer's box. Um, maybe have some. So these are kind of all the elements.
Is that your panel 1?
So this is my panel 1, and I'm thinking like my panel 1, my establishing shot is going to be a pretty big one. I'm thinking. Because there's a lot of things that I need to establish. I need to make sure that the reader understands before we start off. Because some of these other ones, these 2, 3, 4, 5, these tend to be more close-ups. We can cut out a lot of other things, and we don't necessarily need a lot of background in them. So I'm going to put all my effort into this first panel. And so there's a lot of information that I need to cover in this first panel. Now, what I would ask is there like a time crunch in the story? Meaning, because it's not in the script here, maybe it's in the second page. Looking through the face mask of Big T, eyes are completely black. Close-up a view of Big T, three-point stance. Full body close-up of Big T in three-point stance. Close-up Big T's hand balled in a fist. Ball snap, Big T deploys a right hook, landing squarely on the opposing helmet side. And then full page splash, page 3, Big T standing over opposing player roaring. So, without having to read the rest of the dialogue or caption boxes, the question is, SIMPLEMAN, are we like in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left in the game? Game's on the line and your team needs to drive the ball to field goal position or needs to score a touchdown. What are the circumstances of the game of this moment? I know the montage in itself, there's no time constraint on this game. Our stadium is named after Amelia Earhart. You can look it up in Google if you want, okay? Meaning, like, are there other aspects of this that can maybe heighten the drama, right? I want to put a scoreboard in here somehow. How big is the high school? I was thinking of other elements in here would be, like in the background here. Where is this? This is in Iowa. Iowa is fairly flat. So there's not a lot of mountains, not hills, just really like, I guess, farmland or... and then, maybe have some trucks or something in the background, right? Really, again, to establish that we're kind of in the Midwest. We're not in, like, New York City or Miami or LA with the palm trees. Kansas. Sorry, Kansas. So is Kansas flat or Kansas is hilly? I'm not sure. Basically Iowa, so it's kind of flat. All right, so it's important to set up exactly where we are. We get a feel of it. Again, this could be, maybe they're not at half, maybe they're not at midfield. Maybe they're close to the end zone, close to scoring. So we're a little bit, the stands are here. Maybe the school's in the background, right? And, what would be kind of cool is one of those Kim Jong-gi kind of fish-eyed, fishbowl lens things. But anyways, that's going to be it's a little bit more difficult, but if we did something like that. Now, if you can't do it, thank you. If you can't draw that, eyeball it, then the next best thing is to you can draw it normally. Let me show you. And Sean, feel free to jump in anytime you have anything. So if we were to do it normally, if I were to just get kind of a grid perspective and You're gonna draw it out here like this. You can then use Photoshop and warp it. And boom. There you got the Kim Jong-gi fishbowl perspective, almost. I mean, I'm doing a very quick rendition of this, but this is another way of allowing technology to enhance or help you. Right?
Can you do that with finished art, or
Yeah.
is that for layout?
I think you can do that for
when I
finished art
do
too.
that, it pixelates for me.
Well, not on Procreate. Procreate pixelates, but Photoshop, you should be able to get it fairly close now. I mean, I'm scanning it in at a high res in Photoshop. So.
I'm at 400 DPI. Is that too small?
Oh, that's too small. I use 600. 600 DPI. That way you just get a secure. You know, you can really play with it, and you'll still get. It won't pixelate as much at 600. Right now, this is layout, so this is only 800 something by 1223, 800 pixels wide. So it's about a quarter of the size of a regular page. Actually, no, regular page is 4125. So 8 is 5 times. It's about 1/5 the size of a regular page.
Is there a reason why it's at the bottom of the page if it's the first panel?
No. I'm just drawing because I had the notes up top.
Okay.
I had the notes up top, so that way I had the notes for the panel. So I'm drawing it out. I'm not restricting any kind of panel shape yet. Right? I'm just drawing the scene out. I'm envisioning. I'm placing in the scene everything that I need to have. Obviously, this guy right here and these two guys. This is going to be my main focus. Did I get it right? Right side of the tackle? Right tackle? Then we go to, let's say, panel 2, grabbing the shoulder. So if this is the quarterback.
I'm wondering, though, if you're the artist and you're kind of laying this thing out, if he says that he grabs his shoulder, do you necessarily, like, is there a story significance to that, or do you think you would feel comfortable with just kind of like thinking like, oh, it should be something else?
Well, I think he's trying to show that the defensive player is cheating, is doing stuff
cheating?
Is illegal, or that's kind of maybe not cheating, but like just kind of dirty, right? Whereas it's kind of like grabbing.
Is it one of those things where later on you're gonna determine that you need a different angle on it, or a different camera?
Yeah, it could be a different angle, it could be a different camera. I'm just drawing what are different.
Yeah, because I do this too, where I break down the script into like visual diagrams, and then I pick the exact angle later on. But I do break it down this way first.
So, because they have the helmet, a lot of the facial things are going to be kind of covered. We're behind the bad guy, 81, and so this is another angle.
Still panel 2?
No, this is still panel 1. I'm still figuring out the panel 1. If we did a reverse of this,
well, you already have that establishing shot, right? The establishing shot is panel 1, so this stuff it must be panel 2, right?
Right. This is. Oh yeah. Sorry. This is panel 2. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't get that. This is panel 2. This is the grabbing of the shoulder of the jersey by the opposing player.
And that's not something you're supposed to do.
I don't know. Simple Man? Groin punches, eye gouging, chop blocking. So the script is on Discord if you guys want to go read the script. So dirty play. So I'm just kind of playing with different, different perspectives. I can even... Here's another one.
I think it's also important to say that there's not necessarily a right answer, too.
Yes. Not necessarily the right answer, but...
at the very least, because if in the next page you have an important shot that looks very similar, then you can't go with your number 1 here. You have to go with a number 2 idea. So there's a lot that you can... There's a lot of different ways to do it. And there's not one right thing in that panel because it's so dependent on everything else.
Well, and it's also dependent on how you want to tell the story. You're the storyteller. You're ultimately the storyteller. And so you can have the same story told in numerous ways. This is if we're on the ground looking up and we see, we're on the ground, we're looking up, and the two guys are kind of going at it. Kind of worm's eye perspective. And what are some other ones? Any other ones? Any other?
The only football movie I've seen is Waterboy.
Waterboy. Well, Waterboy is actually pretty good football sequences in there. If we just told it from we could just use something like this here. And we just drew a hand grabbing the jersey. Like I'm assuming he's like grabbing the jersey upwards. So like in hockey, where they grab the jerseys to use that to immobilize the other player so you can fight them. Right. So if this was the one thing that I liked, then I would be like, oh, okay, I could probably cut it here. If this was the panel. Anyway, so that's panel 2. We go to panel 3. Opposing players holding Big T's mask. So then we have. We need to figure out like what kind of mask he has. Obviously, a lineman has a mask that's. How long ago was this? Simple Man. So, what kind of mask did you have? Was it a traditional lineman like this, or is this too old school? I had the 2 bars or maybe 3 bars. This is a Lawrence Taylor mask. They had a middle bar in the middle, or was the bar? Okay, all right. So, if you had the helmet. And what does it say? Grabbing the face mask, yanking aside, but Big T is unfaced. So if this is the face, the helmet needs to be kind of skewed. So that would really emphasize kind of this guy jerking you around, right? And I would maybe like really want to get the hand in there.
Is
And I
this
would
a face mask grab thing?
right. He's grabbing the face mask, and what I would do is, if he's grabbing the jersey with the left hand on panel 2, on panel 3, he should be using the right hand to grab the face mask. And I'm making a conscious effort to change the hands.
So for that establishing shot, how likely are you to just find an image and then not really trace it, but kind of just draw right off of a photo?
For me, not really. I mean, I've drawn a lot of I'm kind of familiar with football and sports. I mean, I would look up stuff. If you're not familiar with it, I would look up stuff like, Friday Night Lights. Let me see if I can pull up some stuff and you guys can see.
Well, he mentions the exact stadium. It's like Amelia Earhart.
Yeah. Well, it was not in the script. Was it in the script, Amelia Earhart? So if I did a high school football, Earhart. So if I'm going here, if I'm going to see this. If I just did a quick Google search.
You can get a lot of good ideas, especially like stock photos. They try to have some sort of weird camera angles and stuff.
Yeah, so this is something like, if you're not familiar with high school football, what a high school football stadium kind of looks like, I would definitely do Google search, Google image search. Again, some high school football stadiums are huge. Some are smaller. You can see some of these different choices. And that goes into the storytelling.
A couple of schools of thoughts, like, because this is a real life type story, it's going to pale in comparison to a Marvel comic. So when you want to make like a decision between making a small stadium or a large stadium, like maybe you want to go larger than life to kind of close the gap between this and a Marvel comic. Or if you want to go super authentic, then you make it small. And so there's a lot of things you can do, but just always don't lose control of the job. I mean, if you got to make this look interesting, because I was doing that soccer comic and I didn't know how much of this had to be like a documentary and how much of it had to make it look like it was like that manga that's really popular called Blue Lock, which is just a crazy soccer comic that's done in anime style.
So what did you choose?
Well, that was tough because I didn't really know who the audience was. On one hand, when we went to Morocco, all of those kids, they were reading and watching anime. So their appetite for art is kind of in that far off type of really exaggerated thing with lots and lots of speed lines. And then on the other hand, some of the people who are going to get this comic have never looked at a comic book before. So, I didn't really know how to do it. So I kind of did, made sure it's very clear, but also made the art kind of go as crazy as possible without losing clarity.
Well, I mean, yeah. You gotta, as a storyteller, you just gotta kind of do your own thing, Sean, right? I mean, there is if you're gonna draw it as a manga, well, I think the Morocco soccer one, you weren't sure what the exact market was, right? But they're hiring you, so I would just say just do you, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to think of it.
If they want
and most likely it's for two it straddles two separate audiences, which is like young kids who are into manga, and then like old ladies. They're all going to be reading the same comic.
So here's another angle.
Yeah, this is very clear what's going on there.
And then I think we can do two different things here too. We can go just to show that this guy is a little bit of a cheater.
Courtney's in the chat.
Oh, what's up, Courtney? Like him almost ripping the helmet off. And then also grabbing the shoulder pad here. And again, I'm drawing out, sometimes I'll draw out the entire sequence or the scene. Like what are other elements?
Well, you don't do this when you draw. Because you kind of do this in your head when you draw your own comic. Right?
Yeah. I'm doing this. A lot of this is in my head at this point. But, but this is what's in my head. So I'm just sketching it out for, people on the stream to see. And so as I'm giving Simpleman a little bit of a belly. But this being the sequence here, if we wanted to come in and draw it all out again. So right off the bat, the little turf coming up.
Yeah, I do a lot of that.
Right, just to understand for yourself as a storyteller a different sequence, what the scene actually entails. Now, this kind of action, again, what do you think when you see this? Right, obviously, if this was 79 and this is 81, Tony's Simpleman character is in a blocking defensive, or he's offensive, but he's blocking. 81 is charging, he's leaning in. I have the knee up here, so thinking like, oh, maybe he's going to knee him in the nuts. He's going to do something else that's kind of dirty. You're really just taking advantage of our hero here. Meanwhile, Tony needs to be properly blocking. So if those episodes of Hard Knocks are what they are, then the arms need to be down and your hands need to be inside the numbers, right? So, and there's other things going on in the background too, but I think that could be, if there's a quarterback here, right? So there's other stuff happening. Other players blocking, but right now we're just really going to focus on these two. And as I'm drawing it out, like now, again, this can be how I had it earlier, where this is a vertical, or we can even come in even more for a vertical shot, right? So if this was the case, right, or it could be horizontal.
Horizontal.
Right. So I don't know yet, but I'm just sketching it out. The third one, if there's another one, is there another shot that we can use that's in? Let me see. Yeah, I think we can do another one.
You really should, at the very least, entertain the strange shots. Even if you just know that there are possibilities, entertain them for a second, and then get rid of them. But it's that those scenes like from inside the helmet view, where the hand is over the grill,
Yeah.
and then that could be extremely interesting. And that's what I'm talking about. You may not be able to draw well, but you've given the reader an experience with a shot like that. And most likely you won't use it because it's very extreme, but at least think of it because it just might work. And if it does, then that kind of like puts you on the map. That's a page to write home to mom about. Whereas, you can spend all your time drawing a very typical type of scene. So entertainment, and then know that it's most likely not going to work. But when it does, it really works.
And here, this one. So we're right up on our guy, kind of 3/4 behind him. We see that the face mask is kind of being. We can see.
You can see both their faces. That's good.
Right. This is important here. You see both of their faces. Our hero, maybe he's just kind of stoic. His helmet's being pushed up, so his chin guard is being kind of right in his mouth, whereas the other guy is kind of relishing because he's a bad guy, right? 87. And also this one from this angle gives us an opportunity to see the hands like this, like digging into the face mask, which also can be aggressive, right? So that's another shot. I mean, I don't know which one you like.
One shot puts you as an outside observer, like a reporter, and the other shot makes you feel like you're the victim, because you're looking at the guy face to face.
Yeah. So again, the first one that I did, where the two of them are side by side, you're the observer, you're a spectator or the fan or the ref. This one, you're right up onto our protagonist. You can even see his jersey number. And then we see the bad guy's face, right? We're killing two or three birds with one stone. And you can see a little bit of the struggle in our hero's face, maybe.
And one of them's easier to draw.
Right? And you could do it on the other way. The other way is if you flip. Again, one of these, a lot of these over the shoulders, you can also flip. All right, so if you flip that,
I think the deciding factor should be which one gives you the more emotional experience from the proper point of view, so that the reader kind of buys into your story and is along for an emotional ride. So all of those different views have different weights in terms of emotional connection with the reader.
Sean, are you done with the soccer comic?
Yeah, it's all done. So your cover, you have the cover, and there is no Ariel Olivetti.
No feedback too. So I guess they're good with it.
Did you color it? Because it's colored.
Yeah, I colored it. So this is the other one here. Right, so the reverse angle. I don't know. Okay, I'm not even going to decide a panel shape yet, because it's not ready for a panel shape yet. All right, so we're going to go to the third panel. Huh?
Some people like David Mazzucchelli. He tells the story first with the panel shapes, and then decides what to put inside.
Yeah, but I would say let's not do that. Because
Is
that Dave Mazzucchelli, Batman Year One, Dave Mazzucchelli, right? Or is that Dave Mazzucchelli when he first started out? Again, I'm using this as a template as for young artists. When you first start out, do not limit yourself to a specific panel layout, because you're not doing the story the proper service. You need to figure out all of these shots first.
What I think he's kind of doing is kind of thinking like there's going to be a big moment, but there's small quick moments that lead up to one big moment, and that's as far as you go in terms of thinking panel first. So I think we do that too.
Yes, I do agree with that. I mean, that's a lot of it is what I do now, right? So, I mean, if you want to go back, okay, let's go back to the first panel, right? So obviously, if we were to go with this image as the first panel, it's very much a horizontal shot, right? So, because it's a side to side, you have all this information that you need to show. I mean, it could be vertical. If it was vertical, yeah, I could see it could be vertical.
I don't know how that would be vertical.
You could do the whole page. You could. There's just a lot of sun. I mean, you can maybe have some people here. It is possible.
Usually, I would go by the money shot first and then build around it.
But let's just keep going in this direction right now. So that's third panel is face mask. Fourth panel is smashing the helmet. So that's fairly simple, right? Their helmets are going to smash. Now this is maybe okay. Sean brought up is there anything that I would change if I got a script like this? And this one I might change this one because the previous panel 3 we dealt with a face mask. So the panel 4 we're doing helmet smash. So they're very similar, and the intent, at least from my perspective of the storytelling, is to show this guy doing a multitude of cheating or illegal type maneuvers. And so, but when you have two helmet to helmet panels right next to each other, even though the first one is a face mask, the second one is a smashing of the helmet, I think visually it's too similar. And so I might go with like a groin punch, or something like a trip, or a knee in the thigh, or something really extremely egregious, but at the same time also visually completely different. If that makes any sense.
That's a good point.
So that, because if we did, let's say we go, let's say we go back and I like this one. I'm going to go with this medium shot here, right? Where the two of them, and it's already a side to side. Then the next one, I'm going to go with this, which is another side to side helmet shot.
Also, he would have to let go of the face mask in order to bump the heads together. So it's kind of like relieving one to bring in another move. So yeah, that's why if you go down to the knees or the groin, it'd probably be more effective.
Right, and also it's I'm assuming what Simpleman is trying to do is to say that this is not happening in one play. This is happening during the course of the entire game. That this guy is constantly doing all of these illegal maneuvers throughout the entire game, trying to get on Simpleman's nerves. And so it's not the same sequence, it's not the same play, and he's doing these 2 or 3 things in the same play. I think it's over the course of an entire game, right? So, of course...
They're not the same one play?
I don't think it's the same one play. Of course, Steve Rogers says I would go for the nuts. Yeah, the nut shot. But it has to be warm nuts. Golf Boy Sunday knows. Warm nuts. It has to be a warm nut shot. But that's why you wear a cup, right? So, if it's a nut shot,
Does that happen in football?
Oh yeah, people grab people's nuts. I grab people's nuts in basketball. I elbow people's nuts in basketball. When they're setting a screen, like the players will set a screen, right? This was in the women's game where the offensive player was setting a screen and got called for an illegal screen, right? The guy will stand still and then you're supposed to the player will run you into the standing still guy basically, and the other guy will like run around, right? And so a lot of times they would, because I'm guarding the point guard who has the ball a lot, they would try to run me off of these screens, and these guys are like 6'8", whatever, and I'm like 5'6", so their nuts is kind of like right around where my elbow is, so I like intentionally like elbow them in the nuts.
Wow.
On the sly, so
the
the
nuts.
oh well, I'm not gonna bite anybody in the nuts.
That's in soccer.
I mean, soccer people grab people's nuts a lot too. Anyways, okay, let's do nuts. How would we do nuts? I mean, this might be a close up of the knee.
Also, it's like kneeing him in the nuts.
Yeah, that's. Right, so the knee and the nuts. This is the leg of the bad guy. Okay, you know what? Remember I did this shot earlier? This shot right here, remember this up shot? This worm's eye view? What if I did that for the nut shot? So this is the whole thing again.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah, okay.
Right, so that might be, okay, if we do the whole nut shot, Tony's standing here. So this is the benefit of like drawing all of these different, really just, again, when you get the script, sit down and think about what all of these different angles could be. That way, okay, I might not use it for that one, but then, now look, why not? Right in the groin. Sean, have you ever been kicked or hit in the nuts before?
No. Sports.
That's why I asked. You've never experienced a groin shot before in your entire life. I mean, it is extremely painful.
Yeah, I'll bet.
What about like when you're riding a motorcycle and you come to an abrupt stop?
Oh yeah, someone rear-ended me on that with I got sandwiched between two cars, and then so the car that hit me from behind threw me into the gas tank. So I got off the bike and walked 2 steps, and then I keeled over.
Right. I mean, it's like there's nothing faster, to knock a guy on his knees than a shot in the nuts. Courtney gave a boy a hernia playing soccer. Yeah. That's why like the gas tanks are super round right in that area, right? Because, if you designed it where it was, I don't know. This is a weird angle. I don't know if this.
Yeah, that's tough to draw.
I don't know if it works. Or if it's not the knee in the nuts. Is it this guy punching in the nuts? No, that's not believable. That's a weird angle. No, okay, it didn't work. Well, didn't work. What's the harm? I lost like 10 seconds of my life. It might come back. I might be able to use it later. At least I know it doesn't work. Or at least it's kind of hard to pull off. What's another nut shot? I mean, we can just go right here and just get a whole, Wally Wood 22 panels that.
I mean, that's a good kind of thing to discuss. I mean, if you were to show, like, what's the most dramatic angle to show something? Like, if there was a car crashing head-on, the most dramatic, not the most dramatic, but the one that kind of feels the most characteristic is that side view where they're hitting, but that's a diagrammatic shot, though. So if you start doing the 3/4 from below, it starts to water down the impact mean, when someone gets kneed in the nuts, maybe the best angle is just the strict side view. It's not visually very interesting, but the impact is and the movement is felt more, in that angle.
Here's another one. The guy just goes in and elbows Simpleman in the nuts. Oof.
If this was a manga, then you'd have like these explosion lines.
Well, I would have Simpleman. This would be Simpleman. He would have a tear. No?
Oh, tear. Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Maybe like an egg flying out of the back.
yeah, I mean, because this could be in a scrum, right? A lot of times, Sean, when they get into, the pylons in football, right? And they're all like jumping on top of each other. That's when like a lot of the nut grabbing happens. I mean, you're like you're like punching and squeezing because people can't see that. You're like under like 3 or 4 bodies. James Cole says you can do an X-ray medical view of the nut shot. Possibly.
Yeah, that's like a very new avant-garde way of storytelling. A very Spike Jones.
Yeah. So this is kind of like a lower leg. We're watching them. If you guys can see this, kind of understand what this shot is. Bam, bam. So here's this guy as he's falling. He's taking a cheap shot.
So how do you know that these are not all in one play? It's like a montage throughout the game.
I think it's a montage throughout the game. Is it? Isn't it? Is it? Or a sequence of plays. I don't think it's the same play. Is it the same play? Or am I misunderstand the story?
Maybe it doesn't matter.
Well, maybe it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, so it is a montage. So how do you show that it's not in one play? I guess it's
well, by I'm thinking like just changing up the angle.
Because in a movie they just start running the music, right?
Yeah. Listen to a montage. Maybe you can have maybe you have a background element of a guy running it. So all right. Are we married to the nut shot? Game clock in one of the panels. That's true. We can have some of the game. Oh, that's a good idea. Again, the game clock. I don't know if we want to have that repetitive game clock, but that is a good thing where the game clock is kind of ticking off. Each panel has a different time and quarter. Okay. And also, again, the jerseys can be getting messier. It could be getting ripped, some battle damage. Show fans. Okay, that's another concept there. Who's that? The James Quo.
Or montage style panels where you don't have it all lined up, so they're kind of like just kind of jumping around the page. Kind of shows that it's not in one sequence.
Okay. So this is kind of like another blocking thing. What was the last one was ready for a montage. Panel 5, close up of the 81's mouth because he's trash talking. So
I love panels like this where it's easy.
What is he saying?
It doesn't matter.
Well, I think it. I like to use the mouth charts from animation, and you can do look. if he's saying an F, what do you think he's saying? Right, his mouth looks like he's saying an F. Not a lot of people do this. If you go, oh, eh, eh. What is that? Right? So, fuck could be like F you. So if you're reading it, it's already subliminal. F for freedom. True that. Freedom fries. So, and then this really gets to, again, I'm thinking like, well, why just the mouth? Again, it's easier, but
Yeah, the eyes are important.
eyes could be, really telling the story here. Right, so if that is, if we're just going with a standard shot, standard close-up, and even straight on, because if we just did a, or we did one of these, well, is there a term for one of these lopsided mouth things where, like the lip kind of goes up more on one side? A snarl? Is that a snarl?
Is this the last panel?
This is the last panel, yeah.
Okay, so are they 5 on this page?
5, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the 5. And I would, for again visual reading sake, make sure that the defensive player's face mask is different than the offensive player's face mask, even though they might they share similar positions. If it doesn't have an impact in the story itself, I would visually change it, just so that right away when you see different face masks, even though his face mask could be colored, and the other yours could be like just a standard bland white or black. I mean gray, and the other one is like red or blue, just so that it stands out. Technically, only the threat is critical. Any pose or angle would suffice, but showing malice is intended. Yeah, so you're basically trying to say the guy's a dick. He's an asshole.
Yeah, so I think directions like that are pretty good. I think if you're telling the artist what to draw, and then the artist has to say like, oh, I see what you're going for, and then draws exactly what you say, it's kind of like a 2-step process, and you may not get the best idea. So if you just say like, well, technically all you want is showing malice and stuff like that, then the artist can pick, that's what artists do, is find the most powerful image that gets that idea across. So maybe conveying the idea to the artist is better than choosing a shot for them.
All right. Well, if we were to I'm thinking like a head, like his head is tilted as if we're from Simpleman's point of view, and we see this guy lining up against us. One more play, which is what's going to happen, right? On the next page, basically this next play, Simpleman's had enough and gives him a forearm shiver and knocks him on his ass. So here we go. So I'm thinking this is the lineup.
now you got to fit all this on one page.
Yeah, that's the. All
Yeah,
right.
that's tough. It's like playing like a Sudoku or something.
Yeah, well, real estate. So you're dealing with a client. The client wants a bathroom with a bidet and a hot tub and this and that. And
I want a sports car, but I want to pick up my parents at the airport with it also. So it should have 4 doors and a lot of trunk space, but it looks like a Ferrari.
and be fuel efficient. Yeah, be able to get the girls. All right. Okay. Well, so now that I've kind of explored, and this is all page 1. Kind of explored all the different options for the 5 panels. Again, now if I go back, I'm kind of stuck with this. Now, I can make this a vertical or horizontal panel. This is like Sean's. Sean, we did that when we did the boulevard. We did a very similar thing. So now, if we're gonna go, okay, let's say if this is the page, now you can draw panels. You can draw panel shapes. This is like the Mr. Miyagi way of like wax on, wax off. Not really, but I would say it's a little more than 2/3 of the page. I don't want to be too far out.
So that's a big establishing shot.
Yeah. But I want to make it clear that these are going to be our 2 component players. Again, the stand is, we're close to the end zone.
So when do you entertain the idea of the inset panel? Because that seems like it's almost ripe for all those 5 panels to be inset in that. That's a possibility. Or 1 or 2 panels inset in that establishing shot, or overlapping somehow.
Oh, wow, okay.
So
Sean just had a great idea.
Early on, or you think of that later?
Well, right now, if I'm just going strictly off of the script, but Sean did a great thing where he said, let's challenge the script. All right? F you, simple man. I have a better way of telling this story. That's what Sean just said. I mean, it's very subtle, but... so, if we did that, and this was the page, and again, this is, notice I'm drawing the panels, I'm drawing the page itself fairly big. All right. Don't do one of these little small things. All right. Don't do any of these things, because you guys are, for the lack of a better term, you're not good enough to do this yet. You need to draw it out in a larger format so you can see everything. I see a lot of young artists, and they when they do layouts, they go right here like this. No, that's because you have to explore all this first. So now we're looking at Sean. Sean's saying, let's put this right in here. All right, and that's a full page splash. All right, it's a full page. Whoops, it's a full page splash. And then we're gonna do inset panels all around. We haven't thought about this yet. This is a very interesting idea.
You won't be able to get that to be the first panel, though, right? Because it seems like there's a lot of sky, which is a great place to put all those panels, but then your establishing shot ends up becoming one of the last things you see, because everything's in the sky, right? I mean, does that matter?
Yeah, does it matter? I don't know. I don't think it matters. I mean, this is another interesting way of telling the story.
It's like a very Pepe Larraz thing to do.
So we start off with, where Which one did we choose? Which one did we choose with the jersey? Let's do this one. Or let's do this one. The
over the shoulder.
No, the worm's eye.
Or the worm's eye. Okay,
Yeah.
that one's is probably the most unusual thing you've drawn for the sequence. Very hard to draw, but this is what I'm talking about, where it gives the reader an experience because it's something they don't see usually.
Now, we can't really get a lot of the cheating in this one, but we get that you guys are blocking. Right? And we get the numbers right away.
Good place for one of those lens flares from the Friday Night Lights.
You could, yeah. You can even do, let's see, like, have some stuff. You can have the scoreboard here in the background. Lens flare, right? It's dawn. It's like, well, the sun is setting. Sorry, sunset. You know. Then we go into, what was the second one? Was well, I kind of like this one, right? Or because here's the argument, right? If we go with this upper left hand one, well, this is kind of I don't know why this is blurry. Right? If we go with the upper left hand one, we see the guy's face, the bad guy's face. Although I would like to see it, if we're gonna save that as the final reaction on panel 5, then let's not go with this just now. Let's maybe go with this or this, because I want to see our hero first. Let's see our hero. So, which one do you like, Sean? Do you like this medium shot, or do you like this over-the-shoulder shot?
Well, I mean, the over-shoulder shot always puts you in the shoes of either the victim or the aggressor, and then the other one is more like a third-party observer. So.
Let's go with the over-shoulder shot of the bad guy. What happened?
Well, I mean, I guess you gotta see how you got 3 other panels, so and just make sure that there's a variety of figure sizes, head sizes, and camera angles and stuff. So you can try this for now, and then you may have to change later on.
Okay. And then here, this one is the nut punch. What was the nut punch one? Okay, nut punch was this one.
Is this process to you, is this fun or is it exhausting?
For me, this is the most fun part of a comic. This is the most fun
what
part.
What about if you have like 5 people and they are all speaking their lines in a certain order, and then you have to kind of show all the action, but then also have all the people lined up in a way so that they can speak from left to right. That to me is a game of Sudoku that I don't want to play.
Well, it's a challenge. I mean, most oftentimes I think of the role of the penciler as the problem solver. You're really trying to solve this problem that the writer has created for you. And you're trying to solve it in a way that's good.
Why is that fun? If you're solving a problem, where's the fun in that?
Well, it depends on what you like, right?
I find this stuff mentally exhausting.
Oh, it is. This is like, I can only do, if I do layouts, that's it. If I do layouts for a day, I do 8, 10 pages in a day, I'm burnt out. That's like 8 to 10 hours right there. For it's about an hour a page to do a layout. To do layouts, so an hour a page. So look at this. I think we got a pretty cool page right now. And then if we're gonna again visualize it as if we're gonna color it, let me move this up. Looking at it from a color perspective, I think we got a pretty fucking cool page. And this is.
I mean, it's got a variety of shots because you have one extreme close up of a head, and then you also have a shot where you can see the people's feet are touching the ground because you don't want to have it just floating torsos and heads.
Yep. Right, and kind of how the color might work, there might be some. So we have the same basic story, right? And we have all the components that the script has asked for, but we've kind of composed it in a very different way. We start off with action right away. We go into the face mask. This action, instead of them lining up, it could be already that there are. Where is this panel? That there's already some kind of action going on.
Yeah, that would make sense.
The quarterback is scrambling, right? And then here you get kneed. The guy's down, but you've done a good job in blocking it, but as he's going down, he's kneeing you in the nuts. And then close-up of the bad guy.
Yeah, because that first panel becomes the third panel, and then if you just show an establishing shot of where everyone's lining up, then you kind of break the tension. So yeah, that center panel should be like, someone should be like, that's a good panel to have someone be up in the air from, like being knocked up in the air or something like that, so that you get the lay of the land, but also continue the whole rising action.
Yeah, so I mean, we didn't even think about this last time we talked about it, Tony. So this is a little bit different than I think what you probably initially thought about. But I do think you might want to give this a little bit of a consideration. I mean, it is a little bit more dynamic, even just in the page layout, right? To have these flow now. Again, I'm not married exactly to these shapes yet, to these panel shapes. I do have some negative space here to see that, so that this really becomes kind of almost a full page splash with these subset panels in there. All right, let's move on to the second page. Huh?
Those, because there's so much of this impact action stuff. If you're the type of person that does it, you can make those panels like, the keystone shape, or like the weird shape panels that are slanted or not rectangular,
That's a good point. If these were samples from Marvel or DC, I would say keep them conservative. But if this is your own book, what's to say that...
Because you do it a lot. I mean, every opportunity to have a panel that's not rectangular, you do that.
What's to say that these are, the images are still the same. Right. I mean, there could be different, You could figure it out. It could be. Mm, yeah. So. And I would give it part of the beauty here of having all this negative space in the gutter, or having four subpanels floating over one main image, is that I do think it gives it a little bit more sense of a montage, of a passing, a larger passing of time, as opposed to a single play. If that makes sense.
For sure, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't go too crazy. I mean, they should be kind of.
Yeah, I mean, that's a sore subject for a lot of people, like how crazy you get. Like, I know Joe Quesada says that panel can only really tilt or go off rectangle for the climax action.
Yeah. And CB also has, he's done a thing where CB Sabowski, the editor-in-chief of Marvel, he's done a YouTube thing where he says if you're submitting, if you're putting together submissions for Marvel, be very conservative. Do not do any of these kind of crazy panel layouts. But if this is your own, story, then why not?
Yeah, I don't know why they would say that though. It's kind of strange.
I think it's more about being as conservative as you can, because otherwise, if you can't just tell the story with using you can't tell stories using images, but if you're trying to rely too much on graphic design to tell the story, I think that's where you get into trouble. And so you want to have a strong foundation in storytelling. So, okay, anyways. Right? Okay. Second page. We're almost done. How much time do we have left? An hour and 30. Oh, we're almost there. All right. Okay. Is everybody into this? Barry's favorite used to be using only 6 large panels. Yeah, that's the Jim Shooter thing, right? The Jim Shooter layout.
That Jim Shooter thing, I don't know anyone who thought that was a good idea.
I mean, it's great if you want to tell if you have a boring scene and you don't want anything to stand out. This is the Jim Shooter.
But also a lot of keeping the camera at eye level and keeping most of the shots at medium.
Yeah.
Just for ultimate clarity, and I don't know who thinks that's a good idea.
Look, we could have done this in many different ways. A lot of people would have probably just gone, 5 panel pages, 5 panels on a page. A lot of people would have just started this way.
Yeah, and that was a trend. That 5 panoramic. That was also a bad trend, and I think it's inspired by movies, because the movies have a panoramic panel.
Right.
It'll give you a lot of dead space, but then again, you can put dialogue and narration in that dead space. So.
Yeah. So this is if you wanted to use this. This is what it would look like if you did the 5 panels. Right?
Yeah. And that looks great like that.
Yeah. And it could, and it does suffice. So you can't go wrong with this. But this thing is now we're really exploring storytelling. We're really, really trying to be unique, and let's quickly go over the second page, because then we'll get out of here. Any questions so far? Anybody in the chat? It does true. Your Jimbo says being constrained with 6 panels makes you think and lay out better. It does force you to consider the images to use, and without the use of graphic design. Like, by graphic design I mean like various shapes of panels. It eliminates that. It's basically like, look, you're telling a story through, and this is what Bob used to tell us, like certain rules, like at Valiant, and they were all storytelling rules. So it was, like if you're watching a television show or a movie, right? A television show, the size of the screen is a specific size, so it doesn't change. So you have to make whatever's inside that screen interesting, and that's the whole concept. That's the whole basis behind the 6-panel grid. Is that you have to be able to showcase exactly what's necessary for the storytelling, but also exciting and dynamic for the reader to enjoy. If you start using these vertical, horizontal panels, you can really manipulate a lot of that stuff and cheat, in a sense. So as a beginner, I do think it does behoove a lot of younger artists, storytellers, to challenge themselves to tell a story in that format, and then eventually, I guess, evolve into the higher planes.
But the thing is, if you show the 6-panel grid stuff to Marvel because you're trying to get a job there, it could because they requested that and said it's better. That also tells them you're a beginner, right?
Yes, I mean, I wouldn't do a 6-panel page now as a beginner. I've done actually 6-panel pages recently. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, there are story moments that need it, right? There's like a lot of, like, if you listen to a lot of like classical music or any Guns N' Roses song, there's movements in that song where you need to really quiet down for a while and slow things down so you can explode later on. So it does have its place. And as much as I hate that 6-panel grid or whatever, however many panel grid, my favorite comic in the world is all of that stuff, which is Watchmen. So.
Oh yeah, Watchmen 9-panel grid is the whole entire book is a 9-panel grid. I don't think I know in Monkey Prince I've done some 6-panel pages, and those are also quieter moments too in Monkey Prince. Here we go.
And the idea is that it makes the action that, like the calm before the storm.
Yeah.
You can't get a really big storm without the calm before it.
So this is a standard 6-panel page.
Yeah, it's very effective.
Establishing
the key is to change up what's inside, so it's not just all heads or all medium shots.
Yeah, I probably should have switched these two out because these two are so similar. This one we have the grandfather in the foreground. It's the Ultra Human Knight. Here we start with a medium shot of the family, then we rotate the camera. We see who they're talking to. Then we have another group shot again, close up and then close up, or slightly pulled back, not as close. It is a fun. This was the initial layout. I think I did it earlier too. I don't know if I did it this issue. No. I mean, they're also 6-panel pages. Okay. Back to Tony. Back to Simpleman. Okay, page 2.
Other page.
Yeah, let's run through this real quick. This 5-panel page. Looking through the this is 2. So 1. So I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I actually don't like to write the panels first. These are just the beats. Panel. Looking through the face mask of Big T. His eyes are completely black. And don't remember much of what he said afterwards, so maybe it was just what he said, but I have been called a fat ass most daily by bullies, assholes, sometimes buddies just joking around. Welcome to come to the trailer park. I'm pretty sure our neighbor has more guns on his coffee table than others might have entire safes. Okay, so this is really panel 1 is 79 eyes black, close up. Maybe you're angry. Then 79 hands in 3-point stance. All right, this is the 3-point stance. Is what was this? What was this movie where It's like if you see the white of the knuckles, you know he's running, blocking for running. But a 3-point stance is one leg is you have basically 3 of your 4 appendages on the ground, right? I think.
Superhero landing.
Panel 3, yeah, like a superhero Iron Man landing. Full body close up of T in a 3-point stance. Okay, so pull back wide. Three-point stance. Close up of panel 4 is close up view of Big T's hand balled into a fist. And panel 5, ball is snapped. What was that, Sean? You broke up there.
When you say balled into a fist, is he gonna hit someone?
Yeah. So the next, panel 5, ball is snapped. Big T has ball snapped. Big T has deployed a right hook. On the opposing player's helmet side. Right hook.
Wow, you can do that? Punch someone in the helmet?
I don't think so. I think he's just trying to get back at him. I think it's a penalty.
Yeah, no, but I mean...
He got under his nerves. He couldn't take it anymore, so he committed a penalty.
Right. I was trying to think of where do you punch a football player with all of that gear on?
Yeah, where do you punch him? In the nuts. Even though he has a cup.
In the helmet.
On the side of the helmet. So it was a penalty and he got ejected. Ultimately, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we have eyes black, angry, 3 points, hands in a 3-point stance, wide 3-point stance, hand in a fist, and ball snapped, right hook. I think this is almost 6. Ball snap, right hook. Again, the action. I'd have to pull back wide to show the quarterback. I'd almost want to give myself another panel. So anyways, eyes black. You gonna say something, Sean?
Eyes black is a figure of speech. It's a figure of speech, right? Because a lot of times you'll have foreign artists and then American writers, and then you say something like eyes black, and then the guy will draw like the guy becoming an alien.
So what do you mean eyes black? What is your interpretation of that look?
It just means angry. Yeah, definitely know your artist.
That's a very good point. Sean told the story about the crop circles once. Right?
Oh, yeah. A big fight that took place in a crop circle, and some guy interpreted that to be a vegetable garden that was and a plot that was in a circle.
Was he an Italian or was he a Spaniard?
No, he was Vietnamese.
Vietnamese. There's Vietnam. Oh.
Yeah, he drew like a 10-foot circle of dirt that had like corn and tomatoes, and then these two huge guys were fighting amongst all this vegetable.
Oof.
And one of those guys was an alien, but they chose to fight in someone's backyard garden.
Was the hero a vegan or veggie man?
The strange thing is the editor is like, this book is late. It's, what difference does it make? I mean, it's a little weird, but you still get the idea.
Oh, so they went ahead with it. I thought they hired you because that guy
Yeah.
messed up. Oh, yeah, so you had to redraw it. Which is the hand that goes into a ball? Is it the one that's not the one that's on the ground, right? It's the one that's resting on the knee. What's up, Way High? Does Simple Man answer that?
On the ground.
The one that's on the ground. Okay, so now out of these, the right hook.
Isn't there like a guy standing behind you with his hand, the back of his palm, back of his hand, against your crotch?
No, that's the center and the quarterback. So almost like the KINNIKUMAN. Right? Almost like the KINNIKUMAN. I like to do the mouthpiece.
Flying into the air.
Yeah. So this is the first image that comes to my head.
So it was like an uppercut.
Like an uppercut. However the arms are. Have this guy twisted a little bit. Anything else that comes to your head in this kind of image, Sean?
One thing like Daniel Warren Johnson said before, like he is oftentimes has to draw these unusual angles, and oftentimes he's drawing robots or aliens. And he said that if you can imagine it in his head, then it's possible. Because before, like sometimes I don't know if I would be able to draw this stuff or if it's possible, but you can kind of picture it in your head and make it work. I mean, the most extreme and probably stupid shot of this is the from above where the mouthpiece is right up against the camera and then everything is below it. But yeah, it's a little cheesy, but that's like a Daniel Warren Johnson type shot.
This is what you're talking about right here?
Yeah, and you'll see this stuff more in movies where they would put something in the extreme foreground. It's a little cheesy.
What else? Do we go back to this? Because right now, this is the other way of like figuring stuff out. It's like, okay, I'm choosing one image right now. This is the other method of the storytelling process. I'm choosing my money shot. And on this money shot, on this page, I'm saying that the right cut, the right blow is the upper shot. There's the right elbow is the money shot. So right now I'm trying to figure that out. What does that look like?
So you prioritize this image and build the rest of the page around it.
Yes. I want to go this one here. And this shot is, if you guys can see, we're need to make sure that you're kind of swimming. So we're behind you. Now, of course, you would never have last names on high school jerseys, but this is only for diagramical purposes to know that we're behind. And I would have him overlap you. I want to see a little overlap because I want to see the closeness. And then his helmet needs to be okay. You guys see this? Do you get it?
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering what's happening to his head, though.
Yeah, I gotta figure it out. But his head is like, I'm just trying to get the blocking. Do I want to see the? I think the helmet comes off on the next page. Does the helmet come off?
Comes. He gets knocked off.
Does the helmet get knocked off on the next page?
I hope not.
Page 3. It doesn't say. Big T is standing over opposing player roaring. Well, the helmet gets knocked like.
There's a couple of times in movies where I see a helmet get knocked off, and then it lands on the ground spinning around, and then you as a viewer are waiting for it to stop spinning so you can see if there's a head inside it.
So if I were to do a close-up of the face, and this is an image that I remember seeing of, I think, Bob Greasy or Fran Tarkenton getting sacked by someone. And
Fran Tarkenton.
You remember Fran? You know Fran Tarkenton?
He's not alive anymore, is he?
I think did he die? I don't know.
Wasn't he in that TV show That's Incredible?
Yeah, he was. That's his after his football career. But he was known. He was a known quarterback. One of the guys that really invented like scrambling, where he'd run for his life. And football helmets are hard to draw because of the face masks. Where the chin, you guys can see this, the chin strap is up all the way by the nose. So the helmet still stays on, but and he had a.
Oh wow, he's still alive. He's 84.
Yeah, he's fine. And you would want to have, like, again, anything else that you can his hand should be kind of like in semi-motion. So let's say if we're gonna go this. Again, don't be afraid to draw multiple.
This is one of 6 panels.
Yeah, but I'm only gonna. This is a lot of times this is showing like, well, if I just wanted to focus one, the other ones I can become. What is the word? Subservient. Subservient.
Subservient.
Subservient to this one. Sean, what are your thoughts on doing like speed lines or like things like?
You know, in those Japanese manga, they do a lot of that stuff, and also like the shaky outline on the figure. And we always thought that was in just kind of like very basic or in bad taste, but the illusion of movement is so compelling.
Yeah.
Like, and everyone, like, you give it to an old lady, they'll know exactly. They will feel the energy, and they'll know that someone's hitting, like someone's hand is moving very fast, or someone got cracked in the face really hard. And it's such a bizarre graphic treatment, but everyone understands what it means. And if you don't do it, your comic just kind of like sits there.
All right. So this is the shot that I want to go with. Right now, I can make this vertical or horizontal. If we did this, okay. Sorry, hold on. Let me make this. Just want to save it. So if this is, do one more panel. What do you think? Is this a vertical panel? It's very hard for a last panel to be vertical.
Yeah, if you were to put a panel around it, but you know, of course, there's always the option just to have it be the montage in the middle.
You want to do? I don't know if this could be the montage in the middle. Because this is we're past the montage point of no return. This is a linear story point. So
which number panel is this?
This is the last one. This is the 6. 5 or 6.
Wow. Okay.
A to the J. 81, A to the J. Is it 81 or 84?
Isn't he saying that
81.
Frank Tarkington is?
No, Frank Tarkington was number 10.
No, I mean in terms of his age, current.
He's 84? Oh, okay.
Does that sound right? Because he seems like he should be a lot older.
Yeah. 30-some years. That's Incredible. I loved that show as a kid. We could do.
That show was full bullshit. That show.
Was it?
All the ghost stories and alien encounters were all fake.
Oh. You sound like you've been scorned. Hell hath no fury as a Sean scorned.
someone died trying to do something incredible.
Oh, really?
Or got hurt really bad, like that guy who jumps over a car that's coming at you.
Oh. So it could be a horizontal, right? If we did that.
So it would be at the bottom of the page, right?
Yeah. So this was the last panel on the, and then. This
are you cropping out the fist?
Yeah.
Wow,
Do we need the fist?
Bold.
Do we need the fist? It's the elbow that hits the guy.
Oh, okay.
Right? Or is it the fist? No, we can have the fist in there. Let's just draw it in there. If this is... It's bold or go home.
When you push in close like that, it becomes very intimate with the reader. So I think moving in close is a good idea.
Now, if we
Simpleman said it's his fist.
Okay, it was the fist. So, all right. Again, this is a point where we got to watch out for the tangent. So if there's a tangent,
or have the fist go through the panel.
You think the fist go through the panel?
Yeah, obviously, you're taking some artistic liberties here. I mean, because this sounds like a story that Superman has lived, and he's probably looking at this and saying, "Wow, that did not happen that way." So there is some artistic liberty taking place here.
Story, and this is a comic book inspired by a true story. The street.
On the next page, you're gonna have his head come clean off and land in some old lady's lap.
It's gonna land in the Gatorade.
In that high quality H2O.
Yeah.
And then some guy says, "You can do it." What's that guy?
Rob Schneider.
Yeah. Do you know Bob Layton was friends with Rob Schneider?
Really? They grew up together?
No, they would do these shows together, like the conventions, and then afterwards they just kind of hung out.
Oh.
I think.
Isn't Rob Schneider like a right wing guy now?
I don't think right wing only exists now. Back then, everyone was the
back
same.
then. Okay. Yeah. Rob Schneider is like half Filipino.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, okay, if that's the case, I need a little space. So then I have, so then I would say I have like 4 or 5 panels before this, which would basically be, my style would be to do, let's do 4 vertical panels.
Yeah.
Right, they're a little bit more modern as opposed to, I mean, we could do 4 this way. I like the vertical one because here we have 5 horizontal panels. But if you have 4 vertical panels and 1 horizontal, it breaks it up a little bit visually. Right, and then now I just have to figure out basically now I'm conforming to the shape.
And I think it's important that all be equal size panels.
Yeah. And this is Simpleman's eyes, or one eye.
Eye turned black.
What was the other ones? Close up of the 3-point stance.
Oh, that's tough enough. Small. Thin vertical panel.
Yeah, you can do it. There we go. You show 1 foot here. This is the other hand in the background. So you're assuming he's already on a 3-point stance. We don't have to show the 3-point stance, right? I would maybe, instead of the full body close up, I would, yeah, let me see. I would need to show the quarterback. And I want to show here. Now, the question in this panel is, I don't want to get the size of the main characters. I don't want them to be too similar. And I don't know if there's a way of avoiding it.
So, what story is being told in that panel?
This one is he's now lined up. He's lined up against 81 again. And in the background is the quarterback.
Oh, so the play is about to start.
Yeah, the play's about to start, right, yeah. So, hut 1, hut 2, blue 33, blue 35, whatever. Right, and then, and I this one you might even go, in a film, what would you do? You'd probably get a close-up of the football being hiked between the butt into the quarterback's hands.
Oh, was this the one that's the close-up of the fist? Is what it called for?
Calling for a close-up of the fist. Yeah.
So it's, yeah, it just shows like the intent to do harm.
But I would say we don't even need to show the close-up of the fist if we go into the full punch. Right?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like, I don't know what you would show there. It almost seemed like that would be a good place for the close-up of the eyes turned black panel.
Oh, yeah, that could be. And then, oh, maybe the guys maybe the quarterback's in the shotgun. The shotgun is like he's not underneath the center. And the ball is in the midair. Right, so this is a shot of the quarterback. All right. I'm not 100% happy with this one yet. But what do you guys think? I mean, what's the important thing is that, what was something here? Loosely based, it was open hand slap in real life, but obviously deliberate because of the ref kept talking shit about the dirty plays, wasn't calling shit. So I slapped him down. He quit after I came back second half. We laughed about it after the game and we shook hands. All right, James Quo. Good night. Roy Batty's here. Okay. Anything else? Sean? I think we're pretty much come to a halt.
That's a tough one.
I might even
leading up to that big action.
You can probably even make these a little bit smaller. And have this one a little bit bigger. Again, the key components in this last shot and to watch out for is here the helmet of the bad guy. Again, the cropping, there has to be space It should not touch the edge of the page, so that it gives it a little bit, I would even say that this should not, if we're going to do this. All right. And then the last page is a full page splash of Simpleman standing over the defender, who's knocked unconscious on the ground.
And his head has been knocked clean off.
Yeah. Off of the skin. All right. Any other questions? I think this is probably going to pretty much wrap it up. But again, we looked at two different ways of laying out a page. The second one is a little bit more abbreviated, where we just really took one. We chose one panel and then explored, and then the other ones would just kind of fit right in. I probably would like to take a little bit more time to figure out panel 3 and 4. Whether from a visual standpoint, but also maybe from a story standpoint, based on the tempo of what's happening. The first page that we did, it's really just we're kind of exploring, where is it?
In the background, there's always a crowd of people in the stands, which is very difficult to draw because it's a lot of work, but also it's very distracting because there's so much busyness back there. So I'm wondering, like, which one of those panels would you show that? And like, I'm assuming not in every panel, and then maybe more than one panel to show the crowd.
Oh, yeah, it might be good. It might behoove us, from a story standpoint, to show a little bit of the crowd. Do you have like a girlfriend that's in the stands?
Rob Schneider?
Or your mom? Or, family member? Here's the other thing is, alright, if we do that, and we want to kind of go back into, since the action in the last page is going left to right,
So you're actually showing a panel with just a crowd shot as its own panel. Like, I was thinking that maybe just in the background of every panel, you should be able to see the crowd, but you don't draw it because it's just too much. It's too busy, and it takes away from the action.
Yeah, I would say here, like, if we have room, let's do this.
And you're saying, you can do it.
Inwards, hike. I don't know, that may be kind of...
Okay.
Do they say hike anymore?
You can...
You can do it. No, well, this is...
So you're going to draw the crowd in the word hike?
Well, no, this is... The hike is... The crowd is in panel 4.
Oh, okay.
And then...
But you could sometimes shape a panel to say the word hike and then draw people in it, or draw something in that panel, like a football in the air.
We can see the center's butt. The quarterback is inconsequential here. And these are like very rough drawings. So here, the 5th panel that I added in is the ball snapping in the air. Obviously the guy's saying hike.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool if you made that panel a hike with the borders and then draw that scene in the inside.
Oh, okay. Then we can, because then let's see, if we did that, we may be able to superimpose it over. Sean's trying to get me into trouble here.
Is it a derogatory term?
No. They're trying to give me more work.